Quick disclaimer before we jump in. The episode you're about to listen to was recorded live by Andrew at a conference in Denver, so the audio quality is not at the studio level you might be used to from this show. Background noise aside, please enjoy the episode.
Storytelling is something I will continue to work on for the rest of my life because I've understood the power, but it's storytelling not with you as the main character, but actually them as the main character.
You know, there are a lot of theory around it, but from a practitioner's point of view, my response would be that you have to be curious.
I think the bravest thing that you can do in experimenting with AI right now is actually to have the default of AI first drafts. Do not start a first draft yourself and then try to have AI fix it.
I think it's terribly important to insist on individual values.
Learning Culture Podcast.
Initiative, creation, all these things which we value. It's now possible to make organizations on a larger scale than was ever possible before.
Learning Culture Podcast.
Teach people to analyze the kind of things that are said to them.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Learning Culture Podcast. I am your host, Andrew Barry. This is a show about creating cultures of learning inside companies. And in today's episode, we're going to dive into something pretty fascinating. How is AI changing not just what we create, but how we influence others to act on our ideas? I recently went to Workhuman Live in Denver, and I had 6 conversations with leaders across different industries, from HR to consulting to academia. And what emerged was a pattern. AI isn't just making us faster, it's fundamentally shifting where we spend our creative energy. The bottleneck is no longer generating ideas, it's getting people to care about them. I will introduce each guest right before you hear from them. So let's start with hearing how they are using AI in their day-to-day work. First, we'll hear from Tracy Graff. Tracy's the CEO of Fuse Igniting Communication, a learning and development consultancy, and she's discovered something powerful about starting from scratch.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing how easy it is, right?
Yeah.
You obviously, I now have a custom chat, what's that called? A custom GPT that knows what my business is and knows that we provide communication, connection, and collaboration training. And so then I go in and say, hey, this specific client is this type of industry. They have these specific communication challenges or whatnot. And this is an activity that we're working on at this time. What are some discussion questions to make sure they get the most out of this experience?
Tracy's approach highlights something really important about AI. The more it understands about your context, the better. But here's what's interesting. She doesn't just accept what AI gives her.
Sometimes if I have the time, I read through all the 20 or whatever they gave me and I pick the best.
Yeah, but how do you know? You know what I mean?
How do I know? Yeah, I guess just from all my experience of delivering before, where I used to have to come up with these questions myself. And now I have a bit of an assistant.
This idea of AI as an assistant rather than a replacement comes up again and again. Let's hear now from KeyAnna Schmiedl, the Chief Human Experience Officer at Workhuman, who's taken this concept even further.
I think the bravest thing that you can do in experimenting with AI right now is actually to have the default of AI first drafts. Do not start a first draft yourself and then try to have AI fix it. It's actually so much better to have AI start that first draft, get your prompt really crisp, and then you go in and you put in your personal flavor. Because you know what good looks like.
KeyAnna is literally practicing what she preaches. She used AI to draft an AI manifesto for her company. But notice what she emphasizes. You still need to know what good looks like.
I think it's one of those things where people have to be a part of the process, because it's not simply like you know what good looks like. You know what sounds like you. You know what sounds like a person, and you know what sounds like it would come from your organization, right? So you can give it those subtle little nuances. You can give it those colloquialisms. You can give it just that bit of zhuzh that says, oh yeah, this sounds exactly like something that they would say, as opposed to this sounds like a collection of words that they have said before.
Now let's explore how AI serves as more than a content generator, how you can use it as a thought partner. Rizwana from ThinkLogic, who's pursuing her PhD while heading HR and operations, has found AI particularly valuable in her academic work.
One of the significant ways that I use AI right now is my journey of finishing my dissertation and my research. And that's something that, someone who has 25 plus years of experience of working in HR, coming into academia, it empowers me.
Yeah.
So I learn from it, I coach with it, I train for all my defenses with it, my outlook, and PhD is a very lonely battle.
Yeah.
But me as an extroverted person, I draw my energy from outside.
Yeah.
So all those discussions of, hey, why is it like this? What else do we have? What else can I quote? What other research exists out there?
So while Rizwana is using AI as a thought partner, Jacob Morgan, a speaker and best-selling author of books like Leading with Vulnerability, has been thinking along the same lines.
Personally, I use AI for challenging ideas, helping with content creation. So there's somebody who speaks a lot and writes a lot. I use AI to give me ideas for interesting stories, examples, quotes that I might be able to use. And also if I have ideas for frameworks and things that I want to talk about, I put them into AI and say, challenge it, critique it, tear it down, tell me how I can make it better, how I can improve it.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like having a human being that you can debate and mentally spar with.
Yeah. But perhaps the most sophisticated example of AI as a thought partner comes from Nicole Eisdorfer, HR systems and process optimization analyst at Vail Resorts, who's using AI to stress test her ideas from multiple perspectives. I love this one.
So actually, when I first thought of that idea, the very first thing I did was start poking holes in it. And I'm pretty good at poking holes in things, but ChatGPT is better.
Yeah.
And so I take whatever criticisms I have and I say, I see these 5 problems with this.
Yeah.
How would you answer that? And so it gives me an answer. And then I'm like, okay, what problems did I miss? Act as a critic and tell me what I missed. What is the question that a finance person would ask?
Yes.
What is the question that IT would ask?
Yes.
What is the question that legal would ask?
Right, so what's emerging from these conversations is something quite profound. AI is collapsing the time from idea to prototype. Let's hear an example from Candice Mitchell, an L&D consultant and founder of the Talent Development Nerd.
Right. I've done that manually.
Yeah.
I have done that manually. Yeah. So I would actually I would take the company goals, sift through it. It would take me days and honestly hundreds of post-it notes. I'd look like I'm drowning in post-it notes because I'll take I'll go through every interview, sift through, okay, what were the important points, and I'll write it on a post-it. It took me weeks with previous clients. I mean, honestly, months, 3 to 6 months sometimes. So all the interviews and then uploading it into ChatGPT, 4 weeks in total, including all the interviews. So the actual analysis part, which was usually the bulk of the work, took, let's call it 3 days, because I went back, I vetted, because that's the important thing. You don't just trust what spits out at you.
What once took months now takes days. That's not just efficiency, that's a fundamental shift in how work gets done. KeyAnna shares a crucial insight about what happens when you can prototype so quickly.
I think then it's telling other people how you got there. Right? Ooh, I think it's being honest and transparent with them. It's not like hiding this as your cheat code. It's literally sharing with them, hey, here's what I tried. Here's how it worked. Here's how I think it could work next time. And that's that like transparency and humility piece. But then you can also let them know, and you know what? I think we got here faster than we did before. And what I did with that extra time was, and then fill in the blank, right? Like it could be, I got an extra load of laundry done because I was working from home that day. But it could also be, and so then I had that extra 20 minutes to reflect on this project and this thing that I wouldn't have had that time for otherwise. And I'm figuring out how now I can like stitch those bits of found time together into something really useful that I can then plan for in my day.
So one thing's become clear from all these conversations, and that is that the bottleneck is no longer turning an idea into a prototype. With AI, you can go from zero to a working draft in a matter of minutes. But the true challenge today, it's getting others to care. It's influencing without authority. First, let's understand why this skill matters so much. Nicole, who works in HR systems, faces this challenge constantly.
I work with some HR tech people, like a couple of startups, and one of the problems they continuously have is that HR are not the people who buy the products, right? So we're constantly in this position where we have a need and we have to go make a case to somebody else who actually has the purse strings.
Yeah.
And so that's one obvious reason that it's important. But also, this is tech that is going to profoundly affect humans, and we are the human function. We need to be able to influence our way into that room. So that the conversations that are being had center around the people who are impacted. And also so the problems that are being solved are our actual problems. We know what we're good at. We know where we've taken workarounds. People on the outside don't know that.
Candice has lived this reality her entire career.
I mean, in my space, that is all I've ever done. So I think tomorrow I have my very first person who will report directly into me, but I've had to influence my entire career, right? And executives, like I was an administrator or coordinator needing to influence executives, right? So that is so critical in roles like ours and also roles as individual contributors, because you have so much insight, you have so much value, and so being able to influence people without authority, you've got to know your stuff. Like that's where it's going to make all the difference.
The next challenge comes from understanding what's preventing people to say yes. Jacob emphasizes understanding the real barriers to change.
Probably understand where other people are coming from. So instead of trying to push across a change that you want to drive, try to understand what's keeping somebody from changing to begin with. Right? So what are, oftentimes it's a fear, oftentimes it's some sort of a roadblock that they have. And so you might have a very compelling vision, a very compelling idea for change. But if you don't understand their roadblock and you can't address it and speak to it, then you're never going to make any kind of change happen.
Rizwana, from her academic perspective, emphasizes curiosity as the foundation.
You know, there are a lot of theory around it, but from a practitioner's point of view, my response would be that you have to be curious. You have to find out what is, how you can influence those relationships, both upwards as well as sideways. And what you bring onto the table, so be curious about yourself. And also the dynamics of those relationships. And you also take a look at, how best you're going to make impact. So be able to have that clarity of, this is what I'm going to do in order to make sure that these relationships are fruitful or getting me to the results that I would like to get.
KeyAnna has found that the foundation of influence is authenticity and involving others in the process.
Well, listen, I think part of this is just me and who I am. Like I say that there are 3 values that I hold core to me, which is authenticity, transparency, and humility. So I baseline assume I don't know absolutely everything, and I don't know exactly how, but I'm interested in figuring it out. And so a couple of ways that we've gone about that in our organization is we immediately went out with a survey to absolutely everybody. And we said, you can fill it out anonymously if you want, but what we want to know is, what tools are you already using? How do you see this potentially helping or hurting? What do you feel like you already know about this? And what suggestions do you have for us to create a successful implementation of a something? What might that look like? And to me, it's like getting the synthesis and the themes to then be able to go back to people and say, here's what we heard from you. So now this is why we're building this in this way. Right? Because it's based on their voices. And so therefore they already have a stake in the game.
And Candice brings it all together with the power of storytelling, but with a crucial twist.
Storytelling is something I will continue to work on for the rest of my life because I've understood the power. But it's storytelling not with you as the main character, but actually them as the main character. And I love to think of myself as like the Dumbledore to their Harry Potter, right? And you're the Dumbledore leading them and helping them. So you're not the main character, you're not the hero in the story.
AI has democratized the ability to go from idea to prototype at unprecedented speed. But that's created a new challenge. In a world where everyone can generate ideas quickly, the differentiator becomes your ability to make others care. The leaders you heard from today are succeeding because they understand that AI amplifies human judgment. It doesn't replace it. They use AI to generate opinions, challenge their thinking, and explore multiple perspectives. But they rely on their own experience, empathy, and influence skills to turn those AI-assisted insights into real change. The future belongs to those who can master both: the technical skill of prompting AI effectively and the fundamentally human skill of inspiring others to act. As you've seen, that combination is powerful, turning months into days, but more importantly, turning ideas into impact. Thank you for joining me today. If you found this conversation valuable, please share it with someone who's on their own AI adoption journey. Until next time, I'm your host, Andrew Barry. I'll see you again on the Learning Culture Podcast.
Hello. I hope you enjoyed that episode. It's Andrew again with a quick message. If you'd like to support the show, the best way to do that is to leave us ratings and reviews where you listened. If you're on YouTube, hit the like and subscribe buttons and feel free to leave a comment. We love hearing from our listeners and viewers. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, please take the time to give us a rating and leave a review. Once again, we love hearing from our loyal listeners. If you're listening to this on Spotify, please hit the follow button to make sure that you don't miss new episodes as they come out. See you next week for another episode of the Learning Culture Podcast. Thank you for listening.